Looking to maximize your golfing potential? Learn how from one of the world's best golf instructors. Join today at wdglc.com.
Alright, Wayne D here, and day 2 of the Masters is in the book. And you're looking at the leaders. Jason Dufner on the left here, and Freddie Couples, 52 years old. Freddie was on I was on Freddie's first team All-American team. I was a junior. I think Freddie was a freshman. Haven't talked to him much since then, but I do share that with him. Remember our night at the Waldorf Astoria in New York at the All-American banquet, where George C. Scott was the speaker. It's pretty cool. Anyway, timeless golf swing, Freddie. Kind of reminds me of what Payne Stewart might be like these days if he were still around. Just kind of has that long swing that seems to keep flushing the ball. Freddie woke up when he was 5 years old and found that he could hit a ball in dead center in a club face. It didn't really matter what he did. So I've often, when people start talking about talent, I often mention Freddie and call him, not in a negative sense, a freak, in that he simply knows what to do with a golf club in his hands. His grip is overly strong, as opposed to what conventional would be. As you can see, he's anything but conventional with his swing. He'll start back in his heels, he'll rock forward, he'll take the club straight up outside. Very little leg and hip movement in the backswing. Now, for a guy with a bad back, that's not a whole lot of hip turn. But wide shoulders, much bigger than he would appear in the upper body. Big, strong guy. So this is about as far out in front of you as you can get your arms. Cupped wrist, fairly open club face even. The left arm's so vertical here, and the wrist is cupped, so the face is pretty open. Now this is one of the flyingest right arms you'll see. And then to reroute, he'll take the whole thing, move it backwards a little bit. Now, one of Freddie's keys, watch his legs. His left knee disappears right now, and his left hand, his hands are above, parallel to the ground with his arms. So he's way up there. So great rotation, and he's got real nice lateral movement too. So drops the thing back, but it doesn't get behind him because he's so far out in front of himself in the first place. Now he will come in a little bit high.
Learn the pivot compression golf swing. Join wdglc.com today.
Here's the shaft angle heading to the ball. He started off here. But when I tell you that he hits the center of the face with just about every shot, that's the truth. I actually played with him in the NCAA tournament in 1979. He hit his little wooden 3-wood past my driver every hole by about 20 yards. Of course, I was a little squirrel. I couldn't really hit it anywhere. I just hit it straight. That great footwork, though. And of course, you can play this over and over and over again, and just watch the rhythm of the swing. It's just pretty flawless. Alright, so here we have a completely different swing. I mean, you really couldn't have two more different swings than Dufner and Couples. So, the difference in the posture, big difference. So, now this was at the PGA last year. Didn't show him much today, so I didn't get many shots of him. But again, this is something I've kind of been talking about. If you watch, the pivot is going to start this backswing. You really don't see the hands setting the club, little drag of the grip. So you see just a tiny little bump in the right leg right there, and then a simultaneous movement. I think the pivot is starting this swing. When you forward press with the lower body, you're building pressure into the ground, and when that thing begins to move backwards, everything moves, and I would call that a pivot-oriented takeaway. You could also say that everything is starting sort of at the same time. Now, he pulls the club comes back nicely. This isn't a great camera angle because it's out on the ball, but the club is coming pretty much right up the shaft plane. This will make it look under, but it's not. And the hands come in nicely. The left arm is across the chest. This is a little different kind of right arm action where he will keep the right arm in front of him, sort of pinch it in, and then you just leave it there. So the elbow pretty much stays up against him. Now, a lot of people will try this. In fact, they'll read Hogan's 5 lessons and try to swing like this, but the vast majority of people cannot generate much of anything in form of power with this type of swing. But Dufner does so many things well that he really doesn't need a long swing, and he's not a huge guy, but his swings aren't very long. You also don't see too many guys with their left arm well under the shoulder like this one. Kuchar comes to mind, although his takeaway is a little less conventional than this one. So you see him retain that right knee flex and get a little deeper with the hips. Now, here's another thing that I've been talking about, and Dufner really does this. So as I watch his swing more, I would say he's just about the epitome of the sidearm approach to the golf swing. You can see that his legs don't really clear as fast as Couples. So even though the camera angle is a little off here, you can tell that his hands are going to be down in here somewhere when he evens up his hips. But he really finds a lot of room for his right arm, because the right arm never really gets behind him at all. It just sort of stays in there. And then he just drives it home. So Dufner's right arm will straighten a little bit more out toward the target than, say, a Hogan, but it's so sideways in effect that he still brings it around and exits to the left, and I always like it when that left forearm is angled that away in the follow through. It's a nice full release, the whole body. And take a look at have a couple of his swings from the PGA. This is another good one. There's a couple little tidbits about his swing. He will definitely stay in the box. Now somehow this guy kept the camera real still here, so this one is actually doable for lines. So let's take a look. You can see a little bit of lowering, not a massive amount, but still the standard, at least probably 3 inches worth. See a little back up of the head as he's hitting it. The hips pretty much stay in the box. Now, you see this a lot when the handle points well under the belt buckle. You're pretty much not going to return to that shaft plane. It's too flat. That's 48. But if you jacked it up somewhere up in this neighborhood, you'll find him going to be a lot closer to that one. See that? In this particular swing, he comes up out of the box, but I got a couple other swings that look like he stays pretty much right in it. But this was actually a shot of him today. You can see some nice lateral, real good footwork. And you can see the right side drive through, and look at the nice extension of the right arm, and then real relaxed through. These two guys look about as relaxed as guys can look out there, so maybe that's the secret to playing at the Masters. Tiger certainly didn't look too relaxed today. So again, to me, it really looks like he's just trying to whip around and throw the ball. So again, if you look at Hogan's 5 lessons, he's got all sorts of examples of sidearm throwing, and when you watch Dufner's hands go right out toward the ball. That's what that looks like to me. Anyway, those are our 2 leaders, Dufner and Couples.